The stars were quiet that night. On the far edge of the galaxy, a small blue planet named Zarian floated in peace. Its people, the Zarians, were gentle and calm. They loved music, science, and art. They had no armies, no weapons, and no reason to fear. For 1,000 years, Zarion had stayed silent and safe. But peace does not last forever. One cold evening, the skies over Zarion turned red. A giant shadow appeared above the clouds. It was not a moon. It was a ship, black, silent, and full of death. The Varnock had arrived. The Varnock were not explorers. They were slavers, cold and cruel. They came without warning and they spoke no words. Their ships fired beams of fire into the cities. Buildings melted. Roads turned to ash. The Zarians, peaceful and kind, could only scream and run. In the control, centered deep under Zarian's surface, a young scientist named Tariq stood frozen. His hands shook as alarms rang around him. Red lights flashed, sirens wailed. He looked at the old machines, relics from the past, and knew he had to do something. "We have no weapons," someone whispered. "We have no allies," another said. Tariq stared at the dusty console. One button blinked, a forgotten feature emergency galactic signal. It was old, maybe broken. No one had used it in hundreds of years, but Tariq pressed it. A signal shot into the stars, weak, small, and slow. It carried only 5 words. "Please, help. Zarion is dying." The signal echoed across space. It passed empty moons, burning stars, and ancient wrecks. It reached giant space stations, merchant fleets, and rich alien worlds. But no one listened. The Eliari Empire heard it, and ignored it. The Driel Federation caught the signal and then turned it off. The Kalari Union laughed. "Who saves a small world?" they said. Zarion's cry became a whisper, then silence. Far away on a deadly blue and green planet called Earth, the signal reached an old human satellite. It almost didn't work, but Earth's systems were strange, old and tough, like its people. The signal was weak, but it made it through. A quiet alarm beeped inside a hidden base under the ice of Antarctica. A woman named Commander Grace Thorne walked into the room. She read the message. She didn't speak. She just stared at the screen, her jaw tight. "Who is Zarion?" asked one of her officers. "Doesn't matter," she said. "They're dying." On Zarion, the Varnock walked through the broken cities. They chained the Zarians by the hundreds, dragging them to black ships. The skies were filled with smoke. Hope was fading. Tariq looked up from the bunker and whispered, "Did anyone hear us?" No one answered. He thought the signal had failed. He didn't know that far across the stars, Earth had heard, and the humans, the Deathworlders, were coming. They were not diplomats. They were not saviors. They were warriors, and they did not like bullies. In the shadows of space, a single human scout ship powered up its engines. It had no flag, no colors, just the mark of Earth. Inside, a pilot named Juno Reyes cracked her knuckles and smiled. "Zarion, huh?" she said. "Hang on, help's coming." The galaxy did not care for Zarion, but Earth was not like the rest. Earth was wild, harsh, dangerous, and when Earth moved, it moved with force. The Deathworlders were on their way, and the Varnock were about to learn fear. The signal from Zarion reached Earth like a whisper. Most alien races didn't care, but Earth was not like other worlds. It was a death world, wild, dangerous, and full of life that could kill. The animals were deadly, the weather was brutal, and the humans were something else. They were tough, hard, unpredictable. They were built by struggle. Deep, underground, in a secret Earth defense base, the message played again and again. "Please, help. Zarion is dying." Commander Grace Thorne stood before a large table where her officers gathered. "This came from a small planet called Zarion," she said. "It's under attack. The Varnock are there." The room went quiet. Everyone knew the name Varnock. Cruel slavers from the outer stars, no mercy, no reason. They attacked weak planets, stole people, and left ruin behind. One officer frowned. The Galactic Council won't move. They never do, said another. Commander Thorne nodded. Exactly. That's why we will. On the moon base Horizon 7, Earth's fleet prepared. Ships were old but powerful. Human designs were strange to aliens, full of sharp angles, heavy armor, and strange energy cores. No beauty, just pure survival. Inside one of the lead ships, pilot Juno Reyes strapped into her seat. Her ship was called Gravewalker. It was small, fast, and deadly. Her partner, a large soldier named Kellen, checked the weapons systems. "Aving, strangers again?" Kellen joked. Juno smirked. "We're not saving, we're answering a call. Doesn't sound smart. Doesn't have to. We're Deathworlders. It's what we do." Back on Zarion, the Varnock continued their attack. More cities fell, more people were taken. The skies were full of smoke and burning clouds. In an underground shelter, Tariq and the last scientists watched their planet die. "No one hurt us," one said. "No," whispered Tariq. "Someone did. I can feel it." In Earth's war room, Commander Thorne spoke to the world leaders. Zarion is not Earth, but they asked for help. And Earth listens. One leader asked, "Do we gain anything from this?" "No," she replied. "Just our honor." "Then send the fleet," he said. 3 human ships jumped into hyperspace. Gravewalker was first. As they moved through the stars, Juno looked at the black screen showing Zarion's location. "Any allies nearby?" she asked. Kellen laughed. "None. Everyone's scared of the Varnock." Juno's eyes narrowed. "Then they'll fear us too." Across the galaxy, the Varnock leaders received a strange alert. "Unknown ships approaching," said one officer. "Galactic," response Witt asked the Varnock commander. "No, it's Earth." The room went silent. "Earth?" the commander repeated, now uneasy. "They're just a Deathworld species. Send a warning." But Earth didn't come to talk. As the first human ship exited hyperspace, it was small, quiet, and alone. The Varnock saw it and laughed. "One ship? Are they serious?" But Juno Reyes wasn't here for games. She flipped a switch. Gravewalkers. Weapons roared to life. In seconds, the sky exploded. A Varnock patrol ship vanished in fire. Juno grinned. Deathworlders have arrived. More Earth ships dropped from hyperspace behind her. Not many, just 3. But the galaxy would remember what they did next. In his bunker, Tariq looked up as the ground shook. "What now?" someone cried. Then a new sound came. Loud, deep, powerful. The roar of human engines. A human voice crackled through. An old radio. "This is Earth Fleet. Zarion, we got your signal. We're here to fight." Tariq smiled for the first time in days. "They came," he whispered. "They actually came." Far above, human ships moved like hunters. No mercy, no fear, just force. The Varnock had never faced Deathworlders before. Now they wished they never had. The sky over Zarion burned. Black smoke covered the cities. Varnock ships flew above, hunting survivors. Fire fell from the sky like rain. There was no army, no help, only fear. In the broken streets, Zarion's people hid underground. Families cried. Children clung to parents. Everyone believed the same thing. No one was coming. But then, everything changed. High above, a flash of blue light broke through the darkness. A shape appeared in orbit. Small, sharp, human. It was the Gravewalker, and it was ready to fight. Inside the cockpit, pilot Juno Reyes looked calm. "Target locked," said Kellen, her weapons officer. "Let's show them what Earth does when someone cries for help," Juno replied. The Varnock saw the ship, just one. They laughed. "Is that it?" a Varnock officer said. "A single human scout?" "Destroy it," ordered the commander. 5 Varnock fighters turned toward the Gravewalker. They fired first. Juno didn't flinch. Evasive mode, she said. The human ship spun like a ghost, rolling, diving, slipping between laser blasts. Then Juno hit back. One missile, one shot. Boom. A Varnock fighter exploded into dust. Then another, and another. 2 left, Kellen said with a grin. Not for long, Juno whispered. Seconds later, the last 2 ships vanished in fire. The Varnock commander stood frozen. What just happened? That ship destroyed 5 of ours in under 10 seconds, said an officer. It's using tech we've never seen, the commander growled. It's just one ship. No, came a voice from behind him. It's not. More. Blue lights appeared in the sky, 2 more Earth ships. The human fleet had arrived. Down below in the shelters, Tariq heard the rumble, but this time it was different. It was sharp, powerful, controlled. He ran to the surface. Fire was still falling, but now something else was in the sky. Hope. He saw streaks of light shoot into the clouds. Explosions. Black smoke. But now the smoke came from Varnock ships. A new voice came over the radio. This is Earth Fleet. Zarion, we hear you. We are not leaving until you are safe. Tariq fell to his knees, eyes wide. They're real, he whispered. The Deathworlders are real. In orbit, the human ships moved like sharks. Their weapons were not fancy, just brutal. High speed. Rail guns. Plasma torpedoes. Kinetic strikes that shattered enemy hulls. The Varnock had shields, but the humans didn't care. They punched through them. One Earth ship flew straight into a group of Varnock destroyers. No fear. Just fire. Target the engines, Juno said. Kellen fired. The Varnock ship lost power and spun into a moon. Gone. The Varnock fleet started to pull back. They're not fighting like normal, a Varnock officer said. They don't follow rules, another answered. No, they follow pain, the commander growled. Fall back. Regroup. Back on Earth, Commander Grace Thorne watched the live feed from orbit. She saw the Varnock falling. She smiled. This is just the beginning, she said. Zarion's surface, Varnock soldiers began to retreat. They left their prisoners and ran for the ships. Zarian civilians came out of hiding. They saw the smoke in the sky and heard the sounds of battle above. But for the first time in days, they didn't run. They watched. They waited, and they began to believe. Tariq stood on a rooftop watching as a Varnock dropship tried to lift off. A flash of light tore through it, and it exploded in the sky. He laughed. It was a strange sound, the first laugh in a long time. Deathworlders, he whispered again. They don't come to talk, they come to win. High above, Gravewalker moved into formation with the other 2 Earth ships. Enemy fleet is breaking, Kellen said. Juno leaned back in her seat. Good. Let them run, she said. We'll find where they go next. Kellen looked at her. War? Juno nodded slowly. War. The sky above Zarian was still burning. But this time, it wasn't Zarian cities that were on fire. It was the Varnock fleet. Black smoke and broken metal drifted through space. The proud invaders were running. Their ships scattered in every direction. But the humans were not chasing yet. They were preparing something worse, something final. On board the Earth Command ship, Steel Judgment, Commander Grace Thorne appeared. On a secure screen, she looked at the 3 captains, Juno Reyes, Commander Malik, and Admiral Soren. The Varnock are still close, she said. They've only stepped back. They think we'll stop. Juno crossed her arms. They're wrong. They hit a peaceful world, Grace continued. They stole people, burned homes, and they laughed. Silence fell for a moment. Then Grace gave the order. Let's show them how Deathworlders respond. The 3 human ships powered up, engines glowed white-hot. Weapons were loaded. Target systems locked. The skies above Zarion began to shake. The fire was coming. On the ground, Tariq looked up as the smoke cleared. He saw something strange. Bright. Trails of light painted across the sky. Not explosions, missiles. But they weren't aimed at the ground. They were flying upward, toward the Varnock, hundreds of them. "They're not defending," Tariq whispered. "They're hunting." Above the planet, the Varnock regrouped. "More human ships are coming," warned a technician. "Still just a few." "They don't have the numbers," said the Varnock war leader. "No," his second-in-command muttered. "But they don't need them." A warning alarm flashed red. "Multiple launches. Planet surface. Incoming missiles." The war leader turned to the window. Far below, Zarion was glowing. And then, the sky caught fire. Human missiles screamed through space. Fast. Silent. Smart. They curved around defenses, dodged counterfire, and struck hard. One by one, Varnock ships vanished. No time to react. No chance to escape. Boom. 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 The fire in the sky had begun. Inside Gravewalker, Juno grinned. "This is for every scream they ignored," she said. Kellen chuckled. "We're just getting started." The galaxy had rules, formal wars, ceasefires, agreements. Humans didn't care. To them, this wasn't war. This was justice. Back on Zarion, people gathered in the streets, watching the sky. They saw bright lights, red fire, and flashes of distant battle. Children pointed, elders prayed. And somewhere, deep in the crowd, a voice said, "They came for us and not for power, just for us." In space, the Varnock were falling apart. Ships lost contact. Weapons stopped working. A large Varnock cruiser tried to warp away. Juno locked onto it. Targeting engines. The torpedo launched. It struck clean. The cruiser spun out of control and crashed into a nearby moon. No survivors. The Varnock commander screamed, "Who are these monsters?" His officer answered with shaking hands, "Humans. From Earth, a death world." "A death world?" he repeated, confused. "Not just deadly, willing to walk into fire to save strangers." The commander went silent. And then he ran. Later that night, Zarion's skies were clear for the first time in weeks. No fire, no smoke, no enemy, only stars. And among those stars, 3 human ships stood guard. Still, silent, watching. In the bunkers, Zarion's people came out into the open. They looked around at their broken homes, and then looked up at their new defenders. For the first time in their lives, they felt safe, because Deathworlders were watching over them. Inside Steel Judgment, Commander Thorne spoke to her crew. "This is not the end," she said. "It's only the beginning. The Varnock will return and others like them." "What do we do then?" someone asked. She looked out at the stars. "We stand. We fight. We protect." The humans had come, not to conquer, not to take, but to light a fire so bright that no one in the galaxy could ever ignore a cry for help again. The fire in the sky had spoken. Earth was awake. And now, the galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy watched in silence. 3 human ships had crushed a Varnock attack fleet. Zarion was saved. The people were safe. But now, there was a problem. Humans had broken the rules. Far from the battlefield, on the shining world of Neuralis Prime, the Galactic Council gathered. Hundreds of alien species filled the great chamber. Tall ones, short ones, winged, scaled, glowing. At the center, the High Speaker slammed a staff against the floor. "Order!" he shouted. "We must discuss the actions of the humans." A thin alien from the Glarn Confederacy hissed, "Earth, attacked without permission." A council elder from the Vorax said, "They destroyed ships. They invaded a war zone." Another shouted, "They made us all look weak." The room buzzed with anger, but one voice spoke calmly. She called for help, said Elder Morn, an old and wise alien, a cry from a peaceful world, and only humans answered. No one replied. On Earth, Commander Grace Thorne stood before a council broadcast screen. The council's message had arrived. "You have broken protocol. Withdraw your ships. Stand down." She didn't even blink. She simply said, "No." In orbit. Over Zarion, the human ships remained. 3 small ships, alone. But they didn't leave. They didn't hide. They waited. Inside Gravewalker, pilot Juno Reyes leaned back in her chair. "So we're enemies of the Council now?" Kellen asked. "Maybe," she said. He smiled. "Good, I never liked rules." Back on Neuralis Prime, the Council sent another message. "Earth's actions are dangerous. The Council must control peace, not chaos." Commander Thorne answered. "Then why didn't the Council stop the Varnock?" Silence. At the edge of the chamber, a young alien diplomat whispered to her elder. "The humans are different. They didn't ask what they'd gain. They just moved. Because," the elder said, "they come from a world where survival means action. Where storms don't wait and predators never show mercy." Meanwhile, the Varnock survivors were regrouping. In a hidden base, the Varnock warlord slammed his fist into a console. "They embarrassed us," he roared. 3 ships, 3. "They caught us off guard," said one of his commanders. "No. They fought like they wanted to die, and didn't care." "They're not like others," the commander said. The warlord growled. "Next time, we bring the whole fleet." On Zarion, Tariq walked through the ruined streets. Humans helped rebuild. They didn't speak much. They worked hard. Quiet. Focused. Children watched them like heroes. One little girl asked, "Will they stay?" Tariq smiled. "As long as someone needs them." Back on Earth, protests began. Some leaders feared war with the Council. Others feared Earth was becoming too bold. But most of the people cheered. Billions of voices. One message. They did the right thing. In the Council chamber, the High Speaker gave a final warning. If Earth continues, they will no longer be part of this galaxy's peace. Commander Thorne's response was short. Peace is not real if no one defends it. From that moment, the galaxy changed. Earth had no grand empire, no giant fleet. Just one thing. A heart that listened when others turned away. In deep space, a secret meeting took place. Small groups from other worlds, silent, angry, ignored, came together. One of them said, "Earth acted. Maybe. It's time we follow." For the first time in 1,000 years, the rules were broken, not by war, not by power, but by courage. The courage to answer a call no one else would. And now the galaxy waited. Would Earth stop, or would they rise higher? The Varnock were planning revenge. The Council was watching. And the Deathworlders, they were just getting started. The stars were quiet. But deep in space, something was moving. The Varnock fleet was coming. 50 warships, heavy armor, new weapons, trained crews. This time they were not underestimating the humans. They wanted revenge. They wanted fear. They wanted to make the galaxy forget Earth's courage. Inside the Varnock command ship, the warlord stood tall. "No mercy," he growled. "No warnings. We crush Zarion. We burn the humans. And then, we erase their world." His officers roared in agreement. The war had truly begun. On Zarion, the sky was clear. People were rebuilding. Children played. Small shops reopened. There was hope again. But Tariq felt something strange, a chill in the wind. He looked up at the stars. "Something's coming," he whispered. He was right. In orbit, Earth's 3 ships stood watch, still small, still few, but not afraid. Inside, Gravewalker, Juno Reyes received the warning. "Multiple warp signatures," said Kellen. "Big ones." "How many?" Kellen looked again. His voice went cold. "Too many." Commander Grace Thorne, still in Earth's main ship Steel Judgment, saw the enemy fleet on screen. 50 ships. Varnock symbols. Full assault formation. "They're not here to talk," she said. "No," Juno replied over the comms. "They're here to erase us." Thorne gave one command. "Hold the line." The Varnock fleet entered Zarion space. Lasers charged. Shields activated. Fighters launched. But instead of running, the humans moved forward. 3 ships, against 50. The first shot came from the Varnock. A blast of plasma ripped through space. It hit the Steel Judgment's shields, hard, but the ship didn't break. It held and fired back. Juno's Gravewalker danced through enemy fire. She dodged blasts, slid between missiles, and targeted the biggest ship she could see. "Going for the heart," she said. Kellen fired the railgun. Boom. A Varnock cruiser lost its engines and drifted, smoking into deep space. But Earth ships were taking hits, too. Commander Malik's ship was hit in the wing, sparks flew, smoke filled the hallway. But the humans didn't retreat. They kept firing, they kept pushing. On the surface of Zarion, people watched the sky. This time, they didn't hide. They knew. The humans would fight, and if needed, they would fight too. Suddenly something new appeared. 3 more human ships came out of warp. Reinforcements. Commander Thorne smiled. They came. But it was still not enough. 6 ships against 50. Even Deathworlders had limits. Inside the Varnock command ship, the warlord laughed. "Crush them," he shouted. "Show the galaxy that Earth is nothing." But just then, an alarm went off. The Varnock officer looked at his screen. "No." "What is it?" the warlord asked. The officer's hands shook. Earth didn't send ships. They sent something else. A massive signal appeared in the distance. It wasn't a fleet. It was one ship, but bigger than anything ever seen. Black. Silent. Covered in thick armor. The humans called it the Leviathan. Back on Steel Judgment, Grace Thorne stared at the screen. "You launched it?" Juno asked. "We had no choice," she replied. "They wanted war. Now they'll get it." The Leviathan came out of warp. No noise. No words. Just power. It moved, slowly, like a mountain drifting through space. But when it fired, one shot, one kill. A Varnock destroyer vanished in a burst of white light. Then another. Then a third. The galaxy had never seen such firepower. The Varnock fleet panicked. Their warlord screamed, "It's just one ship!" But it didn't matter. The humans had changed the rules again. And this time, Earth wasn't fighting fair. On Zarion, Tariq watched the sky turn red again. But this time, it was the enemy burning. He whispered, "They came again." And they came, stronger. Inside the Leviathan, no music played, no lights flashed, just humans at their stations, focused, silent. One voice said, "Target locked." Another said, "Fire." Boom, boom, boom. The stars lit up with Varnock fire. In less than 10 minutes, the tide had turned. The Varnock fleet was in chaos. They ran. They broke formation. They begged for retreat. But Earth didn't stop. This time, the humans chased. From across the galaxy, eyes watched in fear and wonder. Earth had sent a message. You can attack the weak. You can burn their homes. But if you do, you answer to us. The battle was over. The stars were silent again. The mighty Varnock fleet was gone, crushed by the firepower of Earth's ships and the unstoppable force of the Leviathan. But something strange happened next. The humans didn't finish the chase. They stopped. They held their fire. And the galaxy watched, confused. Inside the Leviathan, Commander Grace Thorne stood still, staring at the screen. Only 5 Varnock ships remained, scared, broken, weapons offline. "Do we destroy them?" the weapons officer asked. Thorne didn't answer right away. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full of thought. On board the Gravewalker, Juno Reyes leaned back. "We should finish them," Kellen said. "They'll just come back again." Juno didn't reply. She looked out the window, at the damaged ships, drifting without purpose. "Maybe," she whispered. "But we're not them." Across the galaxy, people waited for Earth's next move. Would the Deathworlders wipe them out completely, or show something no one expected? Mercy. On Zarion, Tariq stood on a hill with others. The sky was quiet now. Ashes still fell, but hope returned. A Zarian child asked him, "Are the bad ones gone?" Tariq looked up. "No," he said, "but they've lost." In the council chamber on Neuralis Prime, silence ruled. The same voices who once called Earth dangerous now sat still. They had seen the battle. They had seen the Leviathan. They had seen what Earth was capable of. And now, they saw what Earth chose not to do. Back in space, the last 5 Varnock ships sent a message: "We surrender." It was the first time in Varnock history. Never before had they bowed to anyone. But now, they had no choice, and yet they feared Earth would reject it. Grace Thorne looked at the message on screen. She could end it all. Right now, one command, one order. But instead, she opened a channel. "This is Earth," she said calmly. "We've heard your surrender. No threats, no demands, just one sentence. You live today because we choose to be better than you." The message spread through the stars like wildfire. Deathworlders had all the power, and yet they gave the enemy a chance to live. Not because they were weak, but because they were strong enough to hold back. The Varnock warlord sat alone in his ruined ship, his crew gone, his pride shattered. He stared at the screen. Humans were helping Zarian rebuild again, feeding the hungry, healing the wounded. No one ordered them to do it. They just did it. He whispered, "We called them monsters." Then lowered his head, "But they're more than we ever were." Later on Zarian, humans walked freely through the streets. The people no longer looked at them with fear. They looked at them with trust. Children ran to them. Elders nodded in respect. Tariq stood beside a group of Earth soldiers and said, "You didn't just save us, you showed us what strength really means." In the Earth fleet, Grace Thorne called her captains together. "This war is over," she said. "But more cries will come. More will suffer." Juno nodded. "Then we answer again." Kellen grinned. "That's what Deathworlders do, right?" Grace smiled. "Right." From deep space, 1,000 silent watchers took notice. Worlds that had suffered in silence. Worlds the Council had ignored. They now looked to Earth and whispered the same words. "Maybe they'll help us too." For the first time in centuries, mercy had more power than fear, and it came from the deadliest world in the galaxy. The message was clear: you can destroy, you can burn, but true power is knowing when not to. Earth had the power to crush, but they chose to save. And in that moment, the galaxy began to change.